Good day, it's Father Tom, and I'm glad to be with you today. I'm looking at two scriptures today. One is from the 12th chapter of Genesis, and the other is from the 24th chapter of Genesis, and I want to put them together. Now the Lord said to Abram, "Get out of your country," that's Ur of the Chaldeans, "and from your kindred, and from your father's house, unto a land that I will show you. And I will make you a great nation, and I will bless you, and I will make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. And I will bless those that bless you, curse those that curse you, and in you shall all the families of the earth be blessed." So Abram left. That's it. Abram went. That's it. Abram went. Now I'm looking at the 24th chapter, and this, let me tell you what's happening. Abraham now is very old, and he wants a wife for his son, the firstborn son, and that was not Ishmael, even though chronologically it was Ishmael. The firstborn is Isaac, and he wants a wife for Isaac, and listen to what it says. "And Abraham was old, and he was well stricken in age, and the Lord had blessed Abraham in all things." Remember, now he's in the land, he's in Canaan. "And Abraham said unto his eldest servant of his house, that ruled over all that he had, I pray thee, put your hand under my thigh, and I will make you swear by the Lord, the God of heaven and the God of earth, that you shall not take a wife unto my son from the daughters of Canaan." They are in Canaan, where the Canaanites are, where we have these people who worship Baal and Asherah and all these other false gods. "So I want you to go. You will never take a wife from the Canaanites, but you shall go unto my country," that's Ur of the Chaldeans, "to my kindred, and take a wife for my son Isaac." And the servant said unto him, "If the woman will not be willing to follow me into this land, must I bring your son again into the land from whence you came?" In other words, if I don't get a woman, do I have to bring your son back to the Ur of the Chaldeans? And Abraham said unto him, "Beware that thou bring not my son there again." And that's the end. Beware that you will not bring my son back there again. God called me out of Ur of Chaldeans. He promised to give me a land. He promised that I'd have descendants more than the stars of the sky and the sand of the seas. And now we're looking for a wife for Isaac, and I want you to go back to the Ur of Chaldeans to find him a wife, and they find Rebekah. "But never again shall my son go back to where we came from." Listen to that. Never. There's no turning back. God promised something, and when God promised something, I'm going to tell you, I'm not going back to that place, because that's a place I was called out of, and I was called into another place, and into that new place that I'm in, my son belongs in Canaan, because he promised to give me a land, and I've got the land, and no turning back. Now this is profound, because I'm going to tell you that Jesus said that we should have our hand on the plow and not turn back. You want to know why he said that? I'm going to tell you. Because in Israel there are so many rocks that if you turned back, you would not be able to see the rocks that you were about to hit with your plow. There's no turning back. But I'm speaking to people today that know the Lord, that were called out of Egypt, called out of the Ur of Chaldeans, called out of your own trap, called out of where you once were, and into the life of grace, into the presence of God, into God's favor, and you've turned back. And there's no turning. And I'm going to tell you, when you turn back, the only thing that you get is the garbage of the past. When God calls you out of something, you don't go back to it. Because if you do, it's like putting your face in vomit. Peter talks about that, about dogs going back to their own vomit. Now I know that's not a very nice analogy, but you know what? It's even worse than that. There are people that are listening to me today that have had experiences of God much greater than I, and have decided that it's not worth it. You know why? Because the cross was laid upon their shoulders, and they said, no more. No more. I'm going back. I'm going back. But let me tell you, there is nothing back there other than misery. There's nothing back there. Oh, you might get some power. You might get some titillating experience. No, I'm telling you, there's nothing back there. It's only before us where the Lord has called us to be, and we don't turn back. Oh yeah, I know the song, you know, I have decided to follow Jesus, yeah. No turning back, no turning back. That's an easy song to sing. Any fool can sing it. Any fool can sing, I have decided to follow Jesus. Anyone can sing that song. And then we sing, though none go with me, still I will follow. Well, that's another issue. Let me tell you, that's another issue. That is you can sing, no turning back. But when none go with you, still I will follow. Well, you can sing that all you want. But when you are led into that experience, and you seem to be all alone, like a dog, Ur of Chaldeans seems very, very beautiful. Egypt seems lovely with the pomegranates and the onions and the leeks, you know, and the way of the world seems kind of lovely, because why is it that those who do not do the will of God don't seem to suffer the way we suffer? I'm going to tell you. The devil sell you a bill of goods. No turning back, yeah. Though none go with me, still I will follow. Yeah. It's a nice song to sing, but when you have to live it, and you have to chew on it, and you have to say, this is where I am, and still I'm not moving by the grace of the living God, that's a different story. And the cross before me, and the world behind me. It's a nice song. As I said, any fool can sing it, but it's living it. It's living it, walking in that grace of the cross before me and the world behind me. Because the world can seem mighty attractive. Let me tell you, the servant said to Abram, if the woman doesn't come back with me, can I bring your son back to the Ur of Chaldeans? In no way. Never again. He doesn't belong there. We were called out of that place. We were called into this place. We are a new people now. No way will you ever bring my son back to that place, because that place is over. It's a closed chapter in my life. That's where I was, and this is where I am, and this is where he will multiply. My God. My God. How many spiritual applications can this have in your life? Especially if you've turned back. Especially if you've gone back. Especially if Egypt seems so sweet to you, because you didn't want to suffer for the name of Jesus. You know, blessed are the persecuted, yeah. Until you're persecuted. For thus they treated the prophets before you, yeah, until you become one of the prophets. You see, it's easy to sing about. It's easy to talk about. It's easy to preach about. But when the Lord causes you to cut your teeth on this experience, it's a different story. That's why Christianity in the United States has a shelf life of 18 months for most people. And the only way there's no turning back is if you've reached